Hello everyone, this is another video in along with the terminology series of English literature optional. This is part 2 of the series. Today's Today we'll be discussing some terminologies which we'll come across while reading the works. So the first term is personification. Personification is a literary device that attributes human characteristics or emotions to animals or inanimate objects. It is used to create a vivid imagery, and it helps the readers to relate to non-human subjects by giving them human qualities. So, for example, in the syllabus we have John Donne and the poem Death Be Not Proud. Death is personified and given human attributes of being proud. So this is example of personification. Next we have simile. So a simile is a figure of speech that compares two different things using the words like or as. For example, if I give an example of simile, it will be you are as beautiful as the moon. So as is used, and so this phrase is a simile. Next is a metaphor. So, metaphor is also a figure of speech that directly compares the two unrelated things. So, what is the difference between simile and metaphor? If simile is you are as beautiful as the moon, metaphor will be you are the moon. So, it goes beyond the literal meaning to convey the more imaginative or symbolic meaning. So there is a song, Everything at Once. So this song has all the phrases of simile. So you can listen to this song and be clear with what simile is. And metaphor is a different one. Like I have given example, metaphor will be you are the moon. Next, we have metaphysical conceit. So, metaphysical conceit, you'll come across this term when you'll be doing metaphysical poetry, and also the metaphysical poets John Donne is there in the syllabus. So, metaphysical conceit is a type of extended metaphor or simile that establishes a striking parallel between seemingly dissimilar things. So, it is commonly used by the metaphysical poets in the 17th century. Like the metaphysical writers are John Donne and George Herbert and Andrew Marvell. So in the syllabus, John Donne is mentioned. So John Donne's work, to his mistress going to bed, there is a phrase which says, "Oh my America, my newfoundland." So America, the founding of America, or the capturing of America is compared to winning the heart of the beloved. So this is an extended form of metaphor which compares two highly unrelated things. So this is metaphysical conceit. So next we have transferred epithet. So transferred epithet is a figure of speech in which an adjective or descriptive phrase that normally describe one thing is transferred to the another. Like, for example, if you read The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot, which is mentioned in the syllabus, in the first paragraph itself, there is a term which says restless nights. So, the epithet restless is transferred from the person who is experiencing the night to the night itself. Okay, so this is transferred epithet. Next, we have imagery. So, imagery is a literary device that uses descriptive language to create vivid sensory experiences for the reader. So, it appeals to the five senses. Imageries are appealing to the five senses. The five senses are the sight, the sound, the smell, taste, and touch. It helps to visualize the senses and visualize the scene, visualize through the senses the scenes which are mentioned in the work. For example, the golden sun set behind the mountains, casting a warm orange glow over the landscape. So there in this example, you can see the description of the picture which is in the mind of the poet. So this picture, this imagery is transferred from the poet's mind to the reader's mind with the help of the phrases which are mentioned. You can imagine the golden sun and the mountains, and the warmth of the sun can also be imagined. So this is imagery. Next we have Victorian compromise. So Victorian compromise, you'll be reading about it when you'll be reading Victorian age. And Victorian compromise refers to the ways the writers of the Victorian era navigated the social and moral expectations of the time. Like, for example, in Victorian age, the Industrial Revolution was taking place, and the writers were in a dilemma of either to support the Victorian advancements or the Industrial Revolution, or to bring the social consequences which were happening due to the Industrial Revolution. The plight of the common people, or the plight of the workers, are depicted in a deplorable condition. So Charles Dickens' Hard Times brings out the example of Victorian compromise, which is mentioned in the syllabus. Next is pathetic fallacy. So, pathetic fallacy is a literary device in which human emotions and traits are attributed to nature or inanimate objects. So, it's often used to reflect a character's mood or to create a specific atmosphere in the narrative. For example, the somber clouds darken the sky, mirroring her sadness. So the clouds are described as somber, reflecting the character's sorrow. So this is pathetic fallacy. So next we have the poetic diction. So, poetic diction is actually use of elevated language or the choice of words and syntax that is distinctive to poetry. It involves selecting words and phrases that convey not only the literal meaning but also the emotional and aesthetic qualities of the poem. So, poetic diction, you'll come across this term when you'll be doing Romantic Age and specifically Wordsworth. So, Wordsworth philosophy was that poetry is a man talking to a man. So, before the Romantic Age, the diction or the way poem was written was very ornate, and specific methods were used to write poem. So, to break away from all the chains and from all the methodologies, um, Wordsworth used very simple and rustic language and dealt with the themes of the common people. So this is poetic diction. Poetic diction actually is just use of words and the choice of words and syntax that is distinctive to poetry. So next is realism. So realism means actually it is a movement, it is a literary movement that began in the mid 19th century as a reaction against the romanticism and idealization of the earlier periods. So realist writers aimed to depict the everyday life and society as it truly was. So the great realist writer mentioned in the syllabus is Henrik Ibsen, and the work of his is also mentioned, which is The Doll's House. So you can read it and you can understand that how it is aimed to depict the everyday life and society without any embellishment or idealization. The focus of the realist plays, if we talk about, is ordinary people, their struggles, and their environment, and how the gender struggle is presented, and how people actually dealt in the ages. So this is all about this video. So we'll be discussing other terminologies which come across while you'll be reading. Till then, thank you.